Welcome back to day 96 of our chess journey to 1500 ELO on chess.com. I'm a bit hoarse today, as you might say or notice. The throat's not having the best of the days, but we'll keep on going regardless. So last night we got a win. Let's see if we get a win today as well. We are playing Darker Savage from the US, about the same ELO as us. So we'll get 8 points if we win today. The Alban counter gambit, we have met this before, or faced it rather. I think I realized this doesn't quite work because I didn't quite like this. What I think. This I think was a 3-pawn as far as I can remember, because we can protect it, and if this is played, our opponent loses castling rights. So I guess we'll take here and see what our opponent plays. The pawn is pushed, which I think is the top engine moves, or move rather. This is a logical move now, hitting this pawn and defending our own, although this might be a good response. So let's try to follow this line of thought here and see what is decent here. In this position, I think e3 looks good. If takes, we take here and then we take this pawn. Or do we? Anyways, I think I like to start off with this move and see where we get from here. Now the knight blocks, which it's a developing move, but at the same time here it's also going to block this pawn from coming up like this. So my first instinct here was going here and pinning the knight, but it's important to remember here our queen is also one of the attackers on the pawn here, so if we move it, we would lose an attacker. This might be an idea, applying pressure to the pawn, but at the same time here, I think this kind of a maneuver might work as well. I don't quite know what the best maneuver here is, but this at least connects our pawns and develops this bishop, X-ray defending this weak pawn of ours as well. Which is why I think I prefer this move. And let's see what happens here. Now there is this move, which looks somewhat annoying. If it's played, it's not, well then there is no issue. This threatens to win our pawn. Can we defend this in any way? We can't come here. This doesn't work. So the most logical move here might be this. Although then we block our queen ever so slightly. So we lose an attacker against this pawn. Let's come here, reinforce our knight. This might be an idea, hitting our pawn here, but this is played. Now I think we might have this idea. But if this is played, our opponent might have this, which looks slightly annoying, but not necessarily that bad. Is e3 a good move now? It might be. Trying to hit at this pawn at long last. If takes, we double our pawns though, so maybe we would like some better control of e3. Let's have a look at this. Maybe rook to b1, preparing for this perhaps. I think we'll just go for it. Could have had h3 as well. I don't quite know the difference here between rook to b1 and rook to b2, or a2 rather. I guess my intuition here tells me this is better because it controls this square defending this and keeps eyes on this pawn. So let's come up and see what our opponent does. We get takes. And I guess we have to take here so as not to lose our no. We lose this pawn regardless. Which is unfortunate, but because of the pin, that's how it's going to be. We're forced to take here, our opponent will take this pawn. And honestly, I think this opening here has not quite gone our way. Thus far, at least. I think I'd like to get this as quickly as possible because our king here is looking quite exposed. Well, we're even in terms of pawns now though. I thought we were down a pawn, but I forgot we won a pawn on move 2. So let's come here and see what our opponent does. I think last time we faced this opening, I think we played more accurately. I'm pretty sure there should have been some better approach here, although I did not quite see it today. Oh wow, this is not good. Might have to come back here. This pawn is looking quite annoying. Yeah, this seems forced. We can't move the knight still, but the bishop looks weak. Our opponent sets up discoveries against our king. We can't block it like this. Can we block at all? I don't think we can. This loses a piece. Well, this position has just been incredibly misplayed. This and either this or this, and I think we're in trouble. This would even be checkmate. Or, well, almost. We would have to give up a piece. I think this looks quite dire. Do we have any way of blocking this at all? Not with the knight. This loses a piece once again. Honestly, our best move here might even be taking here, allowing this, and coming up here. No, because this is a check once again, and that's not ideal. Or is it? I guess we come here, but that's not good at all. Is this playable? We lose a piece. I think this might be our best outcome here. So it's not to just simply get checkmated, or so I'd like to say, but this would still be a double check, or not quite a double check, but I don't no, I think this works. At least it looks like our best move. Starts giving up a bishop, but maybe we'll have some tactics here to make things work in our favor here. This, I think, might be a blunder by our opponent, because they sack a piece back when I don't think they had to. Obviously we can't take here because of a pin, and we can't take here because of another pin. But we can take the knight like this. If this is played, I think we're quite even. It is taken, and honestly, this looks okay. I didn't expect us to win the piece back. We don't have the best of pawn situations going on here, but that's just not important right now, to be honest. What's important is getting our piece back. Pretty sure our opponent here, with now 16 minutes on the clock, blundered by playing too quickly, and we're back in the game. This is my intuition here, telling me to come in and hit this bishop, moving out of this, and maybe allowing us to play on this file as well. So let's go for this. The bishop has to move now. Can it remain on this diagonal? It would have to come here, but this would lose the bishop, so that's quite good for us. If it goes here, we can start pinning it and being annoying. So maybe coming back here seems better. To this square, for example. And then we can start coming out with our bishop, hitting this pawn, and playing with our rooks. So I think we're quite lucky here, having gotten to an endgame with even material. We just have a slight weakness on the king side, but honestly that's a whole lot better than being down a piece. I'm hoping for this move, but that's not likely. We get this, our opponent realized this was a decent move. Once again, as I mentioned, this looks good to me. And then this move maybe, or honestly, it does not have to be addressed, because if we take, there is b6 trapping our bishop. Sorry. Still, we should get our bishop out, and this looks like a good square. Our opponent here might see this as a threat and move a pawn. They don't, and now there is a question: do we have this move? And if this is played and this is played, honestly I think this looks decent, because we can use this pawn, I think, to evacuate our bishop. I don't think this knight is an issue, because if this is played, we improve our pawn structure. We could pin as well, which looks annoying. How would our opponent deal with this? Let's say we pin. This isn't playable because of this, so we might force our opponent's pawns apart. But is this better? Maybe winning a pawn. Let's try to calculate this again. This was the intended response. If this is played here, we get this and takes. We come back with the bishop. I think this looks free, so why not go for it? We'll come up here. This, and we have this once again. Or do we? Might have miscalculated because I did not consider pawn takes here, and that's defended by the king. Oh, that's bad. That's really bad. But still, I think we have to take. Is there a way of saving the bishop? I think the bishop might be lost, which would be really bad. But it is how it is. I think this might not be that bad though, because this, and maybe we'll play with the double connected pass pawns and get something like this perhaps, which honestly does not look like the end of the world because we'll have some queening chances. And who does not like a free queen? We can't save the bishop. Missed this last move. I'm feeling really off my game today here. Well, we all have those days. Let's take. Our opponent takes. Don't want to come here yet, but I would like to preserve this knight perhaps. Can't go here. This doesn't look that good. This loses the knight. Is this a move? We don't have a lot of jumps from here. We'll hit this, but that's easily defended. Preparing for this even. Can we come here? Maybe looking to come here, but then I guess we displace our knight a bit. Honestly, I think a4 here might be good. As I mentioned, trying to play with those pawns here. What happens here? Then we evacuate the knight, I think. Someone's calling me. Suspected scam. Telemarketer. Let's not take that phone. Or that call rather. Let's come up with the king. Defending our knight. Because we're pinned here, which is not quite ideal. But this is a move. But then I guess we might come back even. No, we don't. Yeah, I guess maybe. We'll have to defend the knight here regardless. Because there are some threats, I think. Although not immediately, actually. The threats are not as immediate here as I thought. What happens here? Honestly, if this is played, we might get something like this. I think this might be our best chance. We don't have a lot of time and our position here is quite bad. Now, once again, there is still a threat against our knight. Discoveries here. Loads of pressure. Can we take the knight now? And then this versus this, and that's quite passive, which I don't like. If we move the knight, there might be discoveries like this, winning our knight, or maybe it would come back, but still that's not ideal. So maybe coming up, centralizing our king and defending the knight in case there is a reveal attack against it. Our king here is in a horrible cage, but maybe we'll find a way of extracting it. This, and what I looked at here is this. This. There is this, which is a revealed attack. We would have to come here. This might not be ideal. But can we come here now? Are we able to get our king over to the queen side? Or is there a discovery? There is a discovery with this move, which is also a fork. So we can't go there. Is this a move? Once again, a discovery, so that's no good. We'll have to come back. Ooh, this is bad. We have to move the knight, but where to? Is this our only move? Can we go here? No, that loses. We don't want to go to a dark square is what I was going to say, because we get hit by the bishop. But we do have to go to a dark square, so let's go to a dark square where we are protected, at least by our pawns here. This blocks this diagonal, and yeah. I don't think this was avoidable. We're forked. There are still discoveries. We lose a full rook. If we stay on this file, we are discovered against next move as well, and we lose more material. So at worst here we lose a rook, like this. And if this is played, we're down a rook and a bishop in an endgame. And I don't think that's... Oh, wait a second. Maybe this is good. Well, good might be an over-exaggeration here. We don't win a pawn, but we don't lose a full rook either. $20. I guess we come up. This is the only move. But this defense. If this is not played, we win back one piece. It is played. Let's try to trick our opponent, but this is likely to be played. Then I guess maybe king here. Or well, this was a move as well, which is quite accurate. We'll have to come here and our rook will get taken. We'll have to get to the corner and we're down 2 pieces here. Not ideal, but we'll see what we can do. If this is played once again, this might be a playable position. It's not played. Meaning this looks less playable than it was a second ago. Let's come up with the king, defend our pawn. This is a move, then I guess we just come up, This is great stuff by our opponent. This essentially forces us to take here, because otherwise there is this. And now, being down 2 pieces against 0, I don't quite see our winning chances, and I think we'll go on ahead and resign here. Every good streak eventually has to lead to a loss. Thanks for the game, and well played to our opponent. Some of you might say this is premature to resign. I would argue otherwise. We do not have any play here. So we lose today, but let's have a look at the evaluation here and see how we should have played differently. After all, this is learning with Daniel. Our focus is on learning so we can improve long term. 62 points for today. Well, that's, oh wow, game rating 750. That's harsh, but I can see where the digit comes from. Let's jump on ahead here and have a look. This was all good, but this was a bad move. Best moves here include g3, a3, and bishop to d2, playing for this maneuver, which I mentioned but decided against playing. I played this, and we got into a bit of trouble here. In this position, should have developed the bishop here and maintained an okay position. This was not that good, although I thought for a second here it said zeros, but maybe it's because of this move. Why was this good for us? Oh, it's because we get the check here. Is this bad? Apparently. Yeah, I missed this idea, to be honest. And by playing this bishop move instead, our opponent got d3, which just honestly strangled us. We got strangled, but this was inaccurate by our opponent. I'm getting called again, once again by suspected scam. We don't take those phones. We jumped in, and honestly this was not that bad, but well, this is where things went south, because I calculated this, and thought we evacuate, but there is time for the king to come here, so this traps the bishop. That's bad. Oops. So, did we ever have a chance here from this point? Played some inaccurate moves. This was best, but okay, so the best move here was accepting a discovery, losing our rook and getting checked again, which I guess speaks volumes about how bad our position was. This was a mate apparently, because of this. Honestly, I think once we lost the bishop, it was going to be quite difficult to play the game. We tried to go for some tactics, didn't quite work, and well, here we resigned as there is essentially nothing to do. We'll lose those pawns. Can't do a whole lot here with our king alone. The king can't even come up. So our opponent got a win today. Well played to Darker Savage from the US. Thanks for watching to the end of the video, guys. This has been our game for today, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.